If when it comes to marketing, you feel like you could use some advice and you're tired of feeling like everything you're doing is just not enough, this would be a very good book to start with. It is titled This is Marketing. You Can't Be Seen Until You Learn to See by Seth Godin. It's available on Kindle, audiobook for hardcover, paper book as well. The book is 288 pages. I listened to the book through, what was it called? Libby. That's how I listened to it. I have really enjoyed this book. I feel like I have all of maybe 20 more percent to go, but I feel like I've read enough of it to actually be able to leave a review. So this book has been very, very, very helpful when it comes to me trying to get some tips and ideas on how can I market my books better? How can I market myself better? How can I brand myself better? Um, I've absolutely enjoyed it. I've absolutely loved it. I feel like the book gives you some tips and tricks that maybe you have heard of before, but at the same time, it pushes you a little bit further. Maybe you need to start outsourcing some things. Maybe you need to hire someone that can actually design your website and they're not just someone that just only has a little bit of experience. They actually know exactly what they're doing. There's someone who went to school for this. There's someone that has clientele that proves they're actually great at designing websites. They're actually great at designing logos. Some of the things in this book as well talked about how many of the popular brands that we use for things, for example, Walmart or Costco and things like that, they don't have these elaborate logos. Their logos are pretty simple, pretty straight to the point, but when you see them, you know it's them. It was also saying that when you think of brands like Nike or Adidas and things like that, before you think of sneakers, sometimes you think of the fact that they're consistent. You think of the fact that their product actually does what it's saying when it's going to do. And that's a big part of marketing. So it's like when someone thinks of you and your brand, they should be able to think of, okay, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to fulfill. This is how it's going to benefit me. It shouldn't just be, I kind of don't know what this person's going to do. I really don't know how it's going to benefit me. I just feel like I took away a lot of good points in this book. Like I said, I listened to it in audiobook. It's probably one of those books that I would go ahead and I would decide to order it so I could annotate and highlight in it. It's a little hard for me at times now that I'm listening to more audiobooks that have to do with self-development and things. Sometimes I realize it's hard to, it's like I walk away with a lot of lessons, but it's hard for me to exactly be like, well, this is a good quote here and this is a good quote there. Because when I'm listening to it with Libby, there is no like physical version for me to highlight in and be able to go back to. Like, you're just listening to it. But that is another reason why I absolutely love Libby, because I do retain a lot of that information. I just can't sit here and say verbatim, word for word at times. Like, this is where I learned in this chapter specifically. Highly suggest this book. If you're someone who is an entrepreneur or you're thinking about building a brand, a business, even at this point, if you're a content creator, this would be a really good place to start. Highly recommend the book. I didn't know of this author, I feel like, until I saw it being promoted on Facebook. But I feel like that's the great thing about Book Talk, BookTube, all of these different platforms and communities is we we are being exposed to more books and things that maybe you wouldn't typically pick up on your own. Sometimes it's really good just to have a good book recommendation when it does come to business and development, because you don't know what you're doing at times. Sometimes you know what you're doing, you have a clue, but you're not exactly sure if you're executing it properly. And I feel like that's a very big part of being a business owner, is unless you grew up in a family of business owners that gave you the blueprint of this is how you handle taxes, this is how you handle outsourcing, this is how you handle this and that, you really would never know. So that's my thought process on it. Highly suggest the book. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, follow button. I drop book reviews consistently throughout the week. I also go ahead and drop books that are on my to be read list, because why not make your list of books even longer than it already is? If my list of books is getting longer, then so should yours. That's just where I'm at with it. My Favorite X is still free on Amazon, Kindle, Kobo, Libby, Barnes and Nobles, a bunch of other platforms, as well as my book, I Turned His Sister Out in Texas. Both of those books are free as my way of saying thank you to everyone who has supported me over the years. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.